Welcome to Haunted Hangover Live. I'm Louie, and I'm joined by Manny.
Yes, you are.
How you feeling, Manny?
I'm feeling all right. How about you?
It's hot, and I'm
It's
a dummy
hot?
that's wearing, it's hot in my apartment, and I'm wearing a hoodie, I just realized. Not the smartest choice on my end. You seem really
Can't help
relaxed.
you there, buddy.
I know I can't. Should I just unclothe here?
I usually people pay extra for that sort of thing. So
You're right.
You might want to wait for tips.
The OnlyFans, Haunted Hangover on OnlyFans, coming soon. No, I'll keep it on for now. I'll stay clothed.
Don't hold your breath for subscriptions on
I
that.
know. Yes, I know. Well, maybe. You never know.
You know that there's a thing for bearded guys.
Yeah. Listen,
Get that chest tuft.
we'll do
right
a
there.
full episode, you and I, no shirts on.
All right.
You down? Shirtless, little
All
baby
right.
oil.
That's it.
Sell a couple of subscriptions that way. Well, it'll be the Haunted Hangover After Dark. like Cinemax After Dark, Haunted Hangover After Dark.
After dark.
After Dark. But yes, that's enough fun stuff out of
Yes,
the way.
no
at the
more
time.
fun.
No more fun
No
in
more
this
fun.
episode.
Yes. Now we're going to talk about child murder.
Yes. No.
That's it.
No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to stay away from that subject matter. But wanted to do this live last week. Your boy got sick, so we had to push it back to this week. Earlier this month, after our first live episode for 2025, unfortunately, David Lynch passed away. How did that impact you, Manny? How were you feeling that day?
Didn't bother me that much.
Didn't bother you that much. Now, and I'm going to let you start because I forget. Yeah, I know. I forget where you stand when it comes to David Lynch. Like, I honestly, we've been friends so long, but I still forget. I'm like, is Manny even a fan of David Lynch? You know, I get the whole thing with, like, you know, someone famous passes away. You didn't know them. It's not going to impact you that much, but their work might have impacted you, whatever. You might have loved them as a director, etc. But yeah, David Lynch, are you a fan, Manny?
Hit or miss.
Why? Speechless, I guess. I mean, so look. So here, I guess starting with you was just a poor choice.
Well, I'm trying not to be shitty.
No, okay, here. So then we'll bring it back this way. I am a big fan of David Lynch, and before rattle off some of his films here at the top, the thing I like about him, and will I say his movies are strange and weird? Yeah, they're bizarre, and that's his charm. The thing with him that I loved, and again, filmmakers here, both of us, is there's not a lot of directors nowadays. There's a couple that when it's one of their films, you can tell their voice is sprinkled throughout the entire 2 hours or whatever. Especially with David Lynch, his films tend to run on the longer side of things. But with him, I always felt it was so unique, especially like in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. He was making, I think, Inland Empire was like 2005 or 6.
Yeah, something like that.
But his films were so unique in that when you can show someone a David Lynch film and they're probably like, is this a David Lynch movie? Like, that don't even know anything about him, really. They know the name, maybe. They know Twin Peaks, which is probably what everyone knows when it comes to David Lynch. But I just think there was something so unique about the guy and just his creativity that he was able to put his own kind of voice in his movies, his TV, his short films. Even when you listen to the guy and you watch interviews, there's no one like that guy. Like, there's no one. I know eccentric is a word you could use to describe him.
That is true.
And so for me, it's always been sort of like, I always just love that the dude was a brand into himself. Like David Lynch, it's a David Lynch movie. And then people will compare other movies saying, oh, it's like a David Lynch movie because people were trying to mimic what he was doing, which was quite unique. It's all that like nightmare dream logic stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like that's that was kind of one of the things that always stood out to me when it comes to David Lynch and why I loved him. My favorite David Lynch film. I was looking at the kind of just list here of like I wrote down a bunch of his movies. I think I might be missing one, maybe two here, but let me look at Joe Blow. Another voice that is fairly familiar is the 1 Pound Fish guy. Okay, I know exactly. Okay, I know who you're talking about. But yeah, like Blue Velvet, I think I'd have to go with that. I'm a Twin Peaks guy. I love A Fire Walk with Me. I love the movie too, but I kind of associate that film with the series because it's a prequel, and then The Return. But I think I would have to go with Blue Velvet. Obviously, Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, Elephant Man's amazing. Wild at Heart, I just watched like a few nights ago. So, you know, I rattle off like Blue Velvet, like I just said, Wild at Heart, Twin Peaks, Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, Elephant Man, and Inland Empire, Dune, his version of Dune. In my opinion, I don't think any of those movies are bad, but I get it's an acquired taste. So that's kind of just my spiel. I just think he was a really unique visionary in a time when...
Oh, I don't argue that.
Yeah,
he was unique. Nobody makes films like him, period.
Yes, yeah. You know who I can compare him to, and forgive me, Manny, I'm hoping you know the director's name. Poor Things. Killing of a Sacred Deer. Yorgos
Lanthimos.
Yes. He is probably, in my opinion, the current director that his... Like when you watch Killing of a Sacred Deer and you watch like Poor Things, you can tell that's one of his movies. Like there's just a certain kind of voice in his dialogue and the way he makes the actors perform and the visuals and everything. It's just unique to him. No one's doing that. So I feel the same way about David Lynch. You know, we joked about Robert Eggers, how no one's making movies like him in 2025. So in my opinion, these are kind of just visionary directors. So that's kind of my David Lynch spiel here at the top. Back to you, Manny, without being mean. I want something. As someone I know who loves movies, is a filmmaker himself, there's got to be something.
I think David Lynch could shit on a plate and people would call it gold. It could be him farting on a snare drum for 90 minutes and people would call it genius. I think the new Twin Peaks was a pile of garbage. I got 4 episodes in before I fucking gave up because he wasn't doing shit but wasting millions of dollars filming a guy. He spent 8 minutes filming a guy sweeping a fucking floor. Fuck you. I'm sorry. Fuck you. That's bullshit. We waited 20-something years for a sequel and you give me 7 minutes of some asshole sweeping a floor because you think it's transcendental? Kiss my fucking ass.
So
fuck you. That's bullshit. Mulholland Drive is probably my favorite. Okay. Mulholland Drive is probably my favorite.
Okay.
Of his films.
Okay.
But that's another bullshit film. Okay. Because that was not supposed to be what it was. Everybody praises it for being weird and, oh, it's so strange and it's so, oh, what is it? What is it? It's a 90-minute fucking pilot that they wouldn't put to air, so he wrote an extra 20 pages and filmed some shit to shoehorn the ending in that was supposed to be stretched out over the next 15 episodes. He made some shit up, edited it all together, and people called it genius. No. Bullshit, okay? It was a pilot that they refused to pick up because they said, what the fuck is this? So he added all this other stuff that was never part of the story, and everyone calls it genius. One of the coolest scenes of the movie has literally nothing to do with anything. Is that whole opening in the diner, the woman behind it? What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Absolutely nothing. It's just a scene. He left it in for no reason because it was probably supposed to be connected to something that happens in like episode 7 or episode 8. Great. You're not doing 8 episodes. If you're not going to continue it in the story, cut it the fuck out. But no, because he's David Lynch, he gets to get the top of the top A-list actors, Oscar winners, some of the best actors in Hollywood. He gets to have them in his films, purposely tell them to give the worst performance of their careers, and people will call them genius. I'm sorry, but he's over fucking rated. He did weird shit for the sake of being weird. And I give him credit for getting away with it and for letting studios give him money for it because of the fact that he was a remnant of a time when studios let auteurs be auteurs. They let directors do whatever they wanted to do because they just believed in it because they had a fan base. Hollywood's not like that anymore. So I give him credit for being that. There had to be some weird guy out there doing weird shit, and good for him. That's great. But that's my problem with it. I didn't find anything transgressive about what he's doing. He's making weird films for the sake of being weird. And when people ask him, what does it mean? He says, no. He just refuses to answer, you know? And I think that's because a lot of the time he didn't even know what the fuck he was doing. He was making shit up. He's like, let's do this. This seems cool. And it's like, then just fucking say that. Then just say, I just thought it was cool. I liked it. I thought it looked good. It sounded good. It felt right in the moment, and we went with it. Instead, he's this guy who just pretended that every single thing he did had meaning. Okay, he made a short film called David Lynch Cooks Quinoa, and people thought it was genius. He's literally making fucking lunch, and he filmed it and put it out there. The shit is listed on IMDb as a movie. Fuck you.
I have that.
Fuck you. That's bullshit.
I have that
Fuck
in my notes.
You.
I have that in my notes, and I think it's amazing.
Fuck you. You know what? And the same thing goes for David Cronenberg. He went and made a movie of him laying next to this fucking body that was made for another movie, and you called that a short. Fuck you. David Cronenberg is one of my favorite directors, but that is bullshit. It's not a fucking movie. That is you wasting time and having nothing else to do, but you know that there's a million people out there who are going to eat this shit up. And they're going to be like, oh my God, David Lynch has a new movie. He's cooking quinoa. Do you know how many people probably make quinoa based on the way that he did in that fucking film?
Of course.
Every single day he would be like, the time is... Shut up.
Quinoa.
Fuck you.
Listen, man. Tell us how you really feel, Manny.
Bullshit. It's bullshit. See why I was trying to be quiet?
I get it. Listen, I wanted you to be real. I asked you to be real. So that's fine.
It bothers me just the level of just the pedestal that they put him on. When he did great things, he made some great fucking movies. I'm not going to dispute that whatsoever. But he also made a lot of shit.
I mean, you got to admit the Elephant Man
wasted a lot of fucking time.
Is a great movie. The Elephant Man is pretty amazing, and it's pretty singular. It's not bizarre, too bizarre.
It's not, and it was a really fucking incredible film.
Yeah, I mean, I love Wild at Heart. I mean, I'm not as harsh on you. I think what happened was, I think early in his career, and again, what the fuck do we know? We're just two fucking jabronis sitting here talking about David Lynch, going by movies and some of the films he directed. But what I liked about him is he did what he wanted. He didn't give a shit. I know you think it's kind of shitty that he did that with all that money.
No, I'm fine with that. Yeah. I have no problem. He did what he wanted. That's fine. Don't pretend it's something it's not, though.
I would say
that's bullshit.
I'm not that familiar with. I've watched a bunch of his short films, not all of them, but like a movie like Blue Velvet, Eraserhead, and Eraserhead is like his first big film, and that was an independent film, and I love that he kind of made it on the weekends and stuff like that. I love the story behind it. And that was another one. He
made a bunch of shit up. He had a lot of scenes. There was no script. They just threw shit together. He made things up, and he's like, hey, this is going to be a cool little film.
I mean, but if you think about it this way,
everybody's like, oh my God, the meaning behind this. It's like, you can put your own meaning behind it, but don't think that that was his actual intent. He has his reason for it.
Of course.
It's just like how they put so many theories on what Kubrick was trying to do with The Shining and what he was trying to do with 2001, and it's like he was making a fucking movie. Okay,
I listen, and to me that's fandom, and everyone's got their own taste and what they like and what they enjoy. I think the quirkiness of David Lynch is what people loved about him, about his movies. And whatever, you don't like his shit, that's perfectly fine. A lot of people don't.
I didn't say I don't like it.
I mean, you think when he gives a bullshit reason behind what he's doing that you don't like, where it's like, this means that, you don't like that.
See, he never said what
gave.
It meant.
Exactly.
He never said what he meant, and he did that. He did that intentionally. I get it. It's art. You know, I get it. It's art. It's like I shouldn't have to
I think
explain
he's
my
the
art.
most.
Okay, whatever.
I'll
You
say this: he is the most mainstream
Yes.
abstract
Yep.
filmmaker.
He is.
I don't,
He
I'm,
absolutely
I
is.
can't think off the top of my head right now what other kind of horror or genre filmmaker is making movies like this that screened in like all over the country, all over
No,
the world. You know?
there was a couple at the time. You had Amenabar
Yeah.
did crazy shit. You know, Ken Russell was off,
But Cutting
but
Russell had a straight narrative in his
he
films for
did
the most part.
but
He didn't
they
have it
still
was like
no
batshit crazy
it wasn't.
visuals. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just avant-garde
Yeah.
cinema, and that's fine because a lot of the time you are creating something because you want the audience to impart their own whatever onto it, you know. But I watch a lot of it and I watch some of this shit and I'm just like, you just thought this looked cool and you threw it in there. You know, there's no deep meaning behind some of this. There's no meaning behind a guy sweeping a floor for 7 fucking minutes. I'm sorry. There's no meaning behind it.
Man, you just don't get it, man. You
No,
don't-
fuck it. I don't want to get it then. I don't want to get it. I don't want to be so high up on my own horse that I think I can find meaning behind a guy sweeping a floor for 7 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
He shot 4 fucking music videos to end how many episodes? How many? He just shot a music video. How many times? It was at least 4 episodes that ended with a band playing, and it turns into a music.
I mean,
video.
I only watched
This-
The Return once. I have to revisit it. It's been a long time.
I said I got to episode 4, and I was like, I'm done with this.
I'm more
This is-
familiar with the original 2 seasons than I am
Yes.
the last one.
And
I
even-
will
and
agree.
even
The
that-
last season wasn't my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, and even that in the original 2 seasons, once you found out who killed Laura Palmer, the show went to shit because he wasn't part of it.
He kind of left.
Episode 10 or 12, and that's it. And he was done.
It was that
And then
other
the
guy,
show-
like Mark Frost. Well, they were both
yeah, well, the
involved.
showrunner, the studio.
Yeah. CBS.
They wanted, CBS wanted, no, we have to do a full 20 something episodes. And he's like, no, I don't have it, so I'm not going to. And I give him all the credit in the world for saying, nope, that's it, I'm done. You know, episode 12, that's as far as this story is going to go. And, you know, good for him for sticking to that. But they continued on, and the show went to crap, and that's why it got canceled.
Season 2 is a bit long from what I was like 22 episodes from what I remember. But I mean, yeah, there's a couple of like episodes where you can kind of skip them and jump forward from what I remember. It's been a while since it's been a while since I've done a full 2-season, like 3-season watch through. I'm actually thinking of doing it soon.
And Firewalk with Me is cool too. If you've seen the show.
Yeah, you have to know. Yeah, you have to watch the show.
And that's because it's not even a movie. It's almost like watching a bunch of deleted scenes from the show.
It's like what Laura Palmer was doing before she died.
That's it. And he doesn't even like narratively stitch them together. It's literally like you could take the movie and cut it into the show to show the things that they're talking, the things that were missed. That's it. It's like 90 minutes of deleted scenes, you know, just kind of wavily thrown together. And again, I'm cool with that, with his art of it. I get that, and I'm fine with it because you know what, art is art. You know, again, maybe my problem is just the perception that people have of him more than anything else.
You're not pretentious enough, I guess, is the problem. Maybe I don't know. Listen, just to wrap up the David Lynch talk before Manny has an aneurysm over here.
That's it. That's it.
I know.
I tried not to, and you
pulled it out of you.
You poked.
I knew it too. I told myself, I was like, Manny's gonna fucking say some shit. I love David Lynch movies. I love Blue Velvet. I love Wild at Heart. I love Eraserhead. I love Mulholland Drive. I love the quirky, meaningless visuals. I'm not a pretentious person.
I fucking hate Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet. I fucking hate him.
I love Frank.
I hate it.
I love him.
When Dennis Hopper's off the deep end performances, I hate every one of them.
Listen, man, Heineken,
because I think he's a
shit.
phenomenal actor. I think he's just like, it's the same thing. You know, considering we're going to get into hot takes later, you know, this kind of goes along with that. I hate when he goes off the deep end like that. I fucking hate it because he's an amazing actor. I feel the same way about Willem Dafoe. I think he's an amazing actor, but when he gets ridiculous, I'm done. I'm fucking done. That's why I mean,
that's kind of Willem Dafoe's shtick now. He's good.
And I hate that shit because he's so fucking good at anything. And now he's become Johnny Depp, where he's just this one note actor who's going to be the weird guy.
See, you know what the thing is with me, man, I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna close up the David Lynch convo. As a horror film lover, movie lover, spooky shit lover, I don't ever go into, and that's where you and I are different. Hence why I love doing these type of having these type of discussions with you. And I'm sure I've said something like this on the show before. I look at all movies, even films I don't like. I respect them. I never look at a movie as this kind of high art form. It's entertainment to me. I look at cinema as entertainment. It's not a painting. It's not. Can it be a kind of art form with beautiful visuals and things like that? Yes. Of course. But you need to be entertained. And that's kind of how I view movies. So even something as bizarre as like Wild at Heart, where there's like random metal and they're dancing, and then the Elvis, like it goes from like the metal band playing to the Elvis song, and Nicolas Cage is performing the Elvis song. I think it's so bizarre and quirky. I'm entertained by it. Is it silly? Do I know what it means? Hell no. But I do think it's amusing. I think it's funny. It's so weird. And that's what I find entertaining about David Lynch films. Now, are there beautiful visuals? Dude, Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway has a ton.
They're gorgeous.
Gorgeous looking movies. Even Blue Velvet. They're all of his movies. Elephant Man looks beautiful. And it's in black and white. So like, to me, it's like I'm just entertained by his existence. So like, when I watch a David Lynch interview, or he's interviewed by somebody, whatever, or he's on a podcast, or he's behind the scenes, him on set, that is him, this bizarre little man. And I just think it's entertaining. That's why I like him. In my mind, he was able to take the silliest shit and the strangest shit and make a career out of it, dude. Like, I respect it. You watch Blue Velvet and the whole like PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon. It's so ridiculous. I'm Paul. Like the weird, like Brad Dourif dancing in the background, and then like the weird, like it's just bizarre. And I'm just like, all right, I am entertained by the ridiculousness that I'm watching. And that's how I view his movies. Someone that's maybe thinks they're more intellectual, maybe you'll be like, oh, but this is about parenthood and becoming a new father. I'm like, dude, it's a screaming monster that explodes and
that's the time the fucking actors in the scene didn't know what it was about. So don't tell me that he had some high grand vision for it. Even when the actors asked him what it was about, he was like, what do you think it's about? Oh, fuck you. Either give me a motivation or don't.
But yes, R.I.P. David Lynch. I love him. Manny, you heard Manny's spiel. There it is. All right, moving on. Big movie came out. Probably one of the bigger horror films to come out this month. Wolfman. Very polarizing. You either loved it or hate it, like most movies. I would say not as polarizing as Nosferatu, because I think it's leaning more towards the people hated it. Before you speak.
Yeah, I don't think they're very polarizing.
You don't think they're very polarizing?
No, I don't.
You don't
I think
so?
That most people like them both. They just wish they were
what I'm
better.
seeing. Not what I've seen for Wolfman, at least. Wolfman, to focus on Wolfman. Came out earlier this month. I'm sure it'll be streaming. It's kind of crazy. We just did our Nosferatu episode a couple weeks ago. Dude, it's already on video on demand. It's 30 days. You could. What happened to movies staying in the theater?
Studios want to bitch that theaters are dying, and then they fucking kill it themselves.
Dude, we literally recorded our last live, and like a week later, it was video on demand. I was like shocked. I'm sure it'll be on Peacock.
It came out on Christmas, literally a month ago. 1 month ago, and it's already out there.
I'm sure
they're killing theaters themselves. They're shooting themselves in the fucking foot.
It sucks, but it is what it is. Wolfman. I know it's a fairly new movie. I'm sure it'll be on Peacock and video on demand tomorrow. I'm sure next Monday, you will be able to rent Wolfman. But we're going to discuss it a little bit here. So here's the spoiler witch. We're going to spoil some stuff with Wolfman. So if you haven't seen it yet, either leave the live and come back, or skip forward 10 minutes or so. We're going to spoil a little bit of Wolfman. We'll do our best to not spoil too much, but there's certain things you got to talk about when it comes to to this new I guess reimagining. It's not really a remake, it's a reimagining of Wolfman. So
It'll be sometime in the next week or so.
yeah, I'm sure.
Universal has 18 to 30 days between
Wow.
this. That's their VOD release window. So February 4th and February 14th, sometime in that window, it'll come out.
Yeah. At this point, I sometimes question why I even go to the theater. I just love going to the movies. And that's why I go. But yes, directed by Lee Winnell. I was excited for Wolfman because I was a huge fan of his Invisible Man, and I liked Upgrade.
Invisible Man was phenomenal.
And I thought Upgrade was great.
I actually haven't seen.
I've only seen it once. So I remember most of it, but not all of it. Invisible Man, I actually watched a couple nights ago. After like going to see Wolfman inspired me to want to go back and watch Invisible Man. So I was excited. The dude's a talented filmmaker. I'm not the biggest Insidious guy. I dig some of the movies, but I know
I love the first one.
Yeah, he's heavily involved in the writing of. I think he directed one of the sequels as well, if I remember correct. That was one of his first.
I think he did part 3.
3, I think. Yeah,
I
one of them. That was like his first big directing gig. Dude's a solid director, and The Invisible Man sort of sold me on him directing a Wolfman remake.
Yeah, he did part 3.
Part 3. So I think part 3 was the one that the girl gets hit by the car, and I thought that was like the best jump scare was that her being smacked by the car.
But he wrote
all of them.
2, 3,
I think
4. Yeah, he wrote them all. He wrote Cooties.
Yes.
Which is great.
Talented
He's a great
writer.
He's an excellent writer. The first 3 Saw films he wrote.
He's done some good stuff, and it seems like he's like really focusing on directing these days. So yeah, again, I was really hyped for Wolfman. Now, the story of this film is quite different. You don't got any kind of like Lon Chaney Jr. going to visit a fortune teller and they check his palm and there's a pentagram. He's axed all of that, and the basic plot is now it's about post-traumatic stress from a parent, specific in this case a father, and the main character portrayed by Christopher Abbott. He's a solid actor. That guy's been in a bunch of stuff. I think he's pretty good. His father dies, who was really kind of protective and overbearing. He dies. He takes his kind of small family. He's got like a 6-year-old daughter and a wife. They're kind of like a youngish couple with a young daughter. Out to the middle of nowhere. I don't even know where. It's like this desolate, really wooded area. I forget the state it's based in, but they live in like Los Angeles or a city. It's never quite specific, and then move to this kind of rural, wooded, like beautiful mountainside. Or is it Oregon?
Oregon.
There you go. Thank you, Manny. And they're attacked. Long story short, they're attacked by a werewolf, which scratches Christopher Abbott's character, the father. And throughout the film, he's slowly turning into a werewolf.
And the whole film takes place in one night.
Which I loved.
All one,
Yes, because the original Wolfman is several nights, and they made the Benicio del Toro one, which was a little closer to the original film that Universal produced.
That was garbage.
So with this movie, they kind of kept it contained to one location. There's only 5 characters with the father. So it's a really small cast. What I didn't expect, and I should have seen coming, was there's multiple there's wolf men. We've got more than one. You know, I didn't think of that going into it. So I was happy.
It's about him turning. So
who turned him? You know, when you watch a movie like Wolf with Jack Nicholson from the 90s, Michelle Pfeiffer, I really like that movie. I love Wolf. In that movie,
in the theater.
Yeah, I unfortunately did not. I was like 9. But I did rent it years later. And I remember that movie, he's bitten by a wolf, and then he's slowly transforming, but that wolf runs away. You never see it again. But there's also another wolf, in that film. So I dug that I think it's James Spader, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great movie. But in this film, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting more of he's bitten by more of like a Ginger Snap situation where like the wolf is either killed outright or runs away, never to be seen again.
Well, it is.
Yeah, technically. But then when I went to go see the film, I realized, dude, right from the beginning, I saw it coming. I was like, his father's the
Oh
original
yeah.
Wolfman.
Oh yeah.
His
Yes,
father was
that was
chasing
obvious.
a Wolfman. He was bit.
Yeah, the father's been he went missing all this time
Yes.
ago. Now there's a wolf, of course, clearly.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then I was
it
like,
was a twist that was too easy to see coming.
I
Yeah.
saw it coming, and then I mean, they did a good job in the script with like the tattoo, and then he sees the tattoo, and then notices, oh, it's my dad. But besides that, I was excited to see some werewolf on werewolf action. I was not expecting that. That was cool. That was a cool sequence where like him mid transformation is fighting his father, who's a werewolf. I dug that. I didn't expect it, and this is what I like about Lee Winnell, and this is kind of my favorite thing about it. Much like Invisible Man was about an abusive relationship and running away from it, and then using the kind of Invisible Man gimmick in telling that story. This is about, overbearing parents and kind of not child abuse, because technically in the film, his dad was trying to protect him. That's kind of the sense you got. So I love how they kind of tied that all together. But my favorite thing about it was, and you already said it, the whole film is him slowly transforming into the Wolfman. And it's not, I see a lot of people, and this has kind of been driving me crazy. I've seen way too much bitching about the looks of some of these characters. We joked about,
Shit can't look the same forever.
I agree.
You gotta change things up. Sometimes it's gonna work, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, and
Whatever.
For me, it's like this kind of goes back to Mustache Nosferatu. I don't want to open that can of worms. I know you didn't like the way he looks, and you're not alone.
Oh, I didn't care. No, I didn't care about the mustache.
But him being a vampire, he was more of like a corpse.
He never got rid of the mustache.
The mustache never left. It never went bye-bye.
It's like,
But I'm pro Count Orlok mustache, and I am pro sort of mongoloid, not very hairy Wolfman.
well, you know what though? I see a difference between a wolfman and a werewolf. A wolfman is still human looking.
I was going to go to that. I was going to say that same thing.
A werewolf is full transformation.
Yes.
Now I think that all wolfmen are werewolves, but not all werewolves are wolfmen. And that's what the original Wolfman was, Wolfman. He doesn't transform. A werewolf transforms into a wolf. The Howling are wolfmen, but they're closer to being werewolves, because they're still vertical. Same thing for dog soldiers, but like Ginger Snaps, that's a werewolf.
She's becoming,
Yes. American Werewolf in London, that's a werewolf. They become they get four legs, they don't stand on the haunches anymore.
Yeah.
They go down on four and they pretend they behave like a wolf, and that's why I'm okay with it too. Like, it's a wolf man, not a werewolf. Small, thin line between them, but there's a difference.
And honestly, with this movie, and I'm comparing it a lot to like The Fly, Jeff Goldblum Fly, Gina Davis, David Cronenberg.
Werefly.
Yeah, Werefly.
Werefly.
It was really reminiscent of that. Just him slowly like limping around, hurt, becoming this kind of creature. I dug it, man. I will admit, and I've seen some complaints on Letterboxd and stuff, people saying some of the character development was poor. I'll agree. Some of the stuff, like the relationship between the mom and dad, could have been. People don't really say this nowadays. I feel the movie could have used another 10 or 15 minutes. Like Invisible Man's a 2-hour film, 2 hour and 2 minutes. This was about an hour and 45. Give it another 10. Develop their relationship. Maybe have them fight about going to the father's house. Something else, something between that, between their relationship and the daughter and the mother's relationship.
I don't feel like it could use another 10 minutes. I feel like it could use another 10 minutes in the beginning and 10 minutes less in the second half of the film. Mm-hmm. I feel
more
like
on them.
Shift it. Yeah. Shift it more. Yeah. I don't think it needs to be longer. It just we need more in the beginning and less in the later
Even
portions.
like adding that other character, the dude that like the hunting guy who helps them. It didn't really.
It was very weird for no reason.
You want to know why? That guy was in The Invisible Man. I think he's friends with Lee Winnell, and Lee Winnell just wrote a role for him in the movie. That's what maybe I'm wrong.
The whole character was just like, why are we dragging this?
Why? Yeah, that was to me the strangest.
Things like that. That scene was way too long. Like, why are we going for so long? Oh, we pulled up here, and we're going to pull the car off, and then we're going to drive some more. And then we're going to stop, and then we're going to drive some. It's like, oh, come on, man. You know, this scene was entirely too long.
It was weird because even I was like, how's this dude going to play into the film? He didn't really.
He really didn't. He didn't.
He was like a child. He knew him when he was a kid, and he knew where the father lived. They didn't even make it to the dad's house with the guy. So I'm like, the Wolfman drove them off the road and then attacked them. So I'm like, all right, you could have just done that and dedicated that script time to developing the daughter and the mother relationship or lack thereof and the husband and wife. It was weird. I just thought that was a strange character to add. But outside of that, that was really my only nitpick. I really dug his look. I dug the way the movie, it was fantastic looking cinematography. The way they kind of shot. I love that scene where he's trying to investigate what noise is coming from upstairs, and it's a spider. It's his senses.
Yeah, he's hearing it.
Yeah, and he's like, what the hell is that? And he goes upstairs, and it's just a spider crawling on the wall. So like stuff like that. A lot of people I see are like kind of complaining about the werewolf vision, where you can see what he's. I thought
it was cool, but it felt also random.
Yeah, I guess
it didn't add anything to the story. It was just something kind of cool that, okay, it was cool, but what is the purpose of going into his perspective?
I'm curious if stuff was cut from the movie. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, because there's some stuff where I'm just like, wow, it moves really quick. So I was like, it feels like it's missing maybe like one or two scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it moved too quickly. My real problem with it was I don't think Winnell was the right director for it. Now that's what I'm like. I'm kind of bringing all my thoughts together. I don't think he was the right director for it. Because my thought was, so The Invisible Man, I think, was damn near perfect.
Yeah, if you watch Upgrade, because I know you haven't seen Upgrade, you can see parallels between. I even think there's references, like the same company that Griffin, the Invisible Man in his version, it's the same technology company from Upgrade. So like there's almost like a shared universe there. I don't think there's any of that in Wolfman. So
I think there's supposed to be, because
maybe
this is all part of the monster verse that they're trying to.
Well, the Evil Dead Rise guy now is directing a Mummy movie.
Yeah. But all of these are, Blumhouse got the rights to the Universal Dark Universe, and he's producing it with James Wan. And they did Invisible Man, they did Wolfman, they're doing the Mummy, they're doing the I think they're doing the new Bride.
No, movie. I think the Guillermo del Toro and Maggie Gyllenhaal Frankenstein films. I think those are separate from these. I believe I might be wrong, but I think those like Warner Brothers, like a separate deal. I mean, Frankenstein's in the public domain. You can use, I believe, the Frankenstein name, so that's not a. You can't use the Wolfman though. So, you know.
So I think my issue was his style in directing in this. I love the way it looked. I loved a lot of it, but I feel like he directed this the way he directed The Invisible Man, and I feel like that's a disservice to the Wolfman. So the way I felt The Invisible Man, it's very slow, very still. Everything's very quiet because he's the Invisible Man. Okay. When they have, from the very first shot of that movie, you're questioning whether he's standing in the corner and you're waiting for something to move because he's invisible. He could be anywhere, and he moves quietly and he moves slowly. And, you know, and the whole film took that tone of just silent, still paranoia. And he did that for this again, where a lot of scenes were long, quiet, not waiting for a sound. It's like, this is a fucking werewolf. He doesn't walk quietly. He doesn't breathe quietly. He snarls and grunts and breaks things and everything. Why is everything so quiet? You know, it took away all of it because it's like, well, as soon as you hear it, that's it. There, it's like you can't do a jump scare like that because this is not something that can sneak up on you. You know, but then he did it, and I feel like, well, that was stupid. How did you not hear him? He's heavier because he's getting more muscle mass. He's getting, you know, as he starts walking, his feet get heavier. You know, as he walks, he claws things. He's snarling. He breathes heavily. You know, and that's all those characteristics were there. But it's like, why is this movie so damn quiet then? Why do we have so many long stretches of just silence? Characters not speaking and just being quiet. And those are the things I'm like, you shorten that stuff. We need less of that and get to the werewolf, the wolf action. You know, I felt like it was too slow for what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it becomes kind of like a siege movie there for 20 minutes with like the wolf outside and they're trying to escape from like Night of the Living Dead or something like that. Like, I mean, I get where you're coming from. Andrew says, Evil Dead Rise plus Mummy sounds wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That'll be pretty. I mean, if they make a Mummy film in that style of like what Evil Dead Rise, like kind of like a Mummy, like, you know, either trying to suck the life out of someone or, you know, something like that. That could be. I think that director is good for a Mummy movie as long as they stay away from the like action oriented Mummy stuff and more.
That was Tom Cruise that did that.
Yeah, that
was
fucking
all
was
Tom
terrible.
Cruise. All Tom Cruise.
That was not my Mummy movie. But yeah, I think that guy could be good. I don't know. I like Lee Winnell. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but I think he's a good director. I think he's
a great director. I just don't think he was right for this story.
I think he tried. I think you're right. He tried to use some of the elements that he used in The Invisible Man, which is about a man who can't be seen.
Yeah.
And then...
And versus a creature that can't be missed.
Then I also think he tried to go... See, for me, he kind of tried to go more the body horror route with it, which was obvious.
Yeah. And I'm fine with that too. And that's another aspect where this guy is in constant pain too as he's changing. His bones are cracking.
I mean, it was sick, dude. I love the transformation. I thought it was... His fucking teeth are falling out. It's gross. And then when he gets the scratch, it looks like a regular scratch. And she looks at it later on. And then it's like disgusting and it almost looks like, and then he starts eating it. That was a sick scene. I actually really liked that. He was like a dog, like how a dog would like gnaw at its own, you know, wound. So I mean, I really liked
off its own leg.
Yeah, exactly. And he does that in the film. Yes. So Lauren, not my Mummy movie.
That
exactly. Not my Mummy movie. No Tom Cruise. Listen, Tom Cruise. That's why it failed. Stick to Mission Impossible, not the Mummy. But what were you saying, Manny?
I said it wasn't something that I disliked, but I felt like it was a missed opportunity. That he chewed off his own leg. It should grow back.
I mean, there wasn't enough time for it to grow back, honestly.
I know.
It's like the end of the film.
And that's why I feel like it was a missed opportunity. Like, is this something you could have done earlier in the film? And had it happen to him somewhere like a bear trap out in the woods, and he chews off his own leg, and then like within 15 minutes later in the movie, he's growing. He doesn't have to grow back the whole foot, but show that it's already like healing and regenerating. It was like, oh, what a cool scene that had a missed opportunity to do something just extra.
What I did like about that ending, and you're mentioning the him chewing off his own foot. I took that ending as he just wanted to be put out of his misery. Like he was chasing them,
the fly.
Which was
he realized he's going to hurt his own family at some point, and I get that.
He just wanted to get to them so that they could shoot him and kill him.
Yeah.
No silver bullet. They kind of got rid of all that in this version. But yeah, I mean, I dug it. Again, this goes back to what I said earlier. I'm not as hard on these films. Like it's a horror movie, so for me, it's a wolfman, not werewolf, but wolfman film. It's very different than the original Universal Monsters film, which we haven't even. Grammy and I are covering them. We're way far from that movie to even kind of compare the two, but. It's quite different. I'm familiar with that version. And they changed. It's not even a remake. This is an entirely
Yeah.
new version of that character. I dug it, man. I liked it. I think outside of some development issues between the family, kind of their dynamic, I thought it was fun, man. I like the setup. I like the gore effects. I thought it was sick. I like that there was two werewolves and they duke it out and one's his father. And I do like kind of the whole story of overbearing parents trying to control you when in reality they're just trying to protect you. Now, I have a question for you, and we'll move on to the next topic. But did you take it that his mother was a werewolf or a wolf woman, and that the dad was looking for her to kill her, and then
I didn't consider that. No.
after the wife and I left the theater, I was like, you know what? That would make sense, but there were no seeds planted for that to be.
Yeah,
that would be cool because they don't mention the mother. From what I've only seen the film once in the theater, so I might be wrong, but
I don't recall anything.
But that would have been kind of cool if the mother became a werewolf
the whole time,
and then she bit him, and then
he was trying to find her and save her rather than hunt her down.
Yeah, and then he was just protecting because the dad knew about the werewolf, about the wolf man or the wolf person. So that's why I was like, was it the mom the whole time? Again, there were no crumbs leading to that, but that would have been kind of cool.
But that's not, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. Again, I love the subtext about, him not wanting to be his father, and then they use the wolf man as him literally becoming what his father is. Mm-hmm. So I like how they did that too, using that as an allegory, like, oh, I don't want to be like my dad. And that's exactly what happened to him. He became a wolf man just like his father. So I dug it. What did you give it on a Letterboxd to close out here? What did you give it?
I think I gave it 3 stars. I liked it.
Me too.
Liked it.
I gave it a
just
3
wasn't
as well.
crazy about it.
Would you rewatch it eventually?
I would, if like you said, if they give an extended, I'd like, okay, I want to see this. Let me see what was missing. I hated the Del Toro Wolfman. I hated that. Absolutely hated that movie that I watched. I saw that in theater. That was one of the few times I wanted to get up and walk out because I was so just hating.
Want to hear something funny? I didn't like it when I first saw it, but the film's grown on me a lot the last decade or so.
I only watched it that one time.
It's grown on me. It's good. I like it.
I have the Blu-ray and there is a director's cut, and I said, okay. I want to watch the director's cut one day and see if that's, you know what I mean? If that makes a difference.
He was a good Larry Talbot. He reminded me of Lon Chaney Jr. Like I and Emily Blunt.
The performances were good. The
Anthony Hopkins. Yeah,
just garbage.
I revisit it if you haven't seen it in a long time since it came out.
Literally when it came out, and I hated it so much.
I was in that camp, and I can tell you right now, since its release, I've probably watched it about 3 times. Like sat, paid attention, watched, and I just had it on in the background. And I dug it, man. I have the Blu-ray that's unrated or extended or whatever, too. And I dug it, man.
Maybe you're watching the unrated version.
Maybe
you're watching that extended one, and that's what makes it better.
I'm possibly. I mean, it's grown on me, dude. I watched it like maybe a few months ago when they announced this movie and like the trailer or something came out, and I dug it, man. I don't know. I was not a big fan of it when it came out, but it's grown on me the last few years. But so far, in my opinion, this was a pretty solid Wolfman. This new version, the 2025 Lee Winnell Wolfman. I enjoyed it, so I gave it 3. I'm pretty sure I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd as well. All right, Manny, you just saw a mystery movie.
I did.
What was it? And before you go, yes, Companion. Sorry, no spoilers because this movie has not come out yet, and I haven't even seen it yet. So, Companion.
Yep. It was AMC Screen Unseen, so I got to see Companion last night. I fucking loved it. I thought it was excellent. It was so good, funny, bloody. Everything was great about it. I thought it was so good. Like it's like as soon as it was over, it was like so far. Well, that's the top movie of the year so far.
Wow, it's only January.
Yeah, but
yeah.
So I've seen 5 or 6 movies already released this month. Horror movies from 2025, and that's already my favorite one.
Yeah, it's the Barbarian people, right?
Yes.
So is it same director?
It might be.
Yeah, I'm not, I just know I remember seeing the trailer, and I think it
Drew
says
Hancock.
Barbarian.
No.
Ben Grimm. It was fine. 3 out of 5 is fine. Yeah, that's. I'm assuming you gave it a 3 out of 5, Ben, as well. So I mean, it's like. It's not a horrible Wolfman movie, but it could have been better. But I don't think it's as bad. I've seen some people say Wolfman is flat out garbage, which I don't agree with. But back to Companion, Manny. So it is the same director as Barbarian.
No.
No, it's not. Why did I
Drew
say?
Hancock directed this.
Maybe it's the producers.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Drew Hancock. Let me see.
I mean, I just saw the trailer in front of Wolfman, funny enough, and I'm pretty sure it said, and that's a marketing ploy
Yes,
from
it
the
says
people that brought you Barbarian. So I wasn't sure if it was the producer, maybe the screenwriter, the director, probably the producer, if we're being honest.
Quite sure. Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
But it's what? It's like an
producer.
Without spoiling without spoiling it, it's like not AI, but he basically created like a wife or something, right? That's kind of the vague plot.
Yeah.
That the trailer kind of tells you that vaguely.
It does. Yeah, I feel like the trailer kind of spoiled it because it could have been a really good surprise.
We won't go any further than that.
But no, I'm not gonna because there's another surprise.
Oh.
And I realized that they did that because to throw off what's happening. But yeah, basically, and even in the poster, she's got white eyes. Like I'm looking at it, there's the main poster. She's got white eyes. So yeah, she's basically she's a robot. Or boy, she's a companion robot.
Yeah. It's like not just a sex robot. She's it's like a full blown. I'm sure there's some love object stuff going on in the film in the film too.
She's a companion. She's a companion robot, and essentially, as you see from the trailer, she goes haywire and starts killing people.
Okay.
That's what the trailer says. There is more to it. There's 2 or 3 more layers.
Okay.
To the story, but essentially, the easiest comparison is obviously the Stepford Wives.
Okay.
Meets Strange Darling.
Okay.
Where it's like
Sold.
You don't know. Yeah, dude, you're gonna love it. I absolutely fucking loved it. And Sophie Thatcher is great.
Yeah, she's great. So Ben Grimm says
awesome too.
So Ben Grimm says Sorry, Ben Grimm. I'm used to saying grimy, but Ben Grimm says the producer is the director of Barbarian.
Gotcha.
So the guy who directed Barbarian is the producer of Companion. And yes, you're right. He is directing the new Resident Evil film, which, fingers crossed, I hope it's good. If it's him, it's got to be, because Barbarian was fantastic. What were you saying, Manny?
No.
So that's basically, you can't talk about Companion anymore because you're going to spoil it, basically, right?
It's gonna come. I think it comes out this weekend or next weekend.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming out because we've got the Hard Eyes coming out, Companion, a lot of love. Couples.
And I want to see Presence too.
Presence, which I'm hearing also kind of some people love it, some people hate it. I want to watch Presence as well. But yeah, I'm excited for Companion. I'm excited for Hard Eyes, which I know you told me you were hoping it was either or, one of those two movies, because you go to the AMC mystery movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never gone to one of those. I have to check them out because they released the movies a couple weeks early, so that's kind of cool that you're seeing it before everyone else.
Yeah, I saw this. Obviously, I saw this. I saw Lisa Frankenstein like that.
Yeah.
I saw, oh shit, what was the name of it? Boy Kills World.
Okay. That's on Amazon. I have to watch that. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's like Guns Akimbo. It's fucking crazy.
This is your little area here. Any other movies you want to shine a light on that you've seen recently? Anything that stands out to you that you want to
what did I actually
show some love to here before we move on to the main topic to close out the show?
Nothing like let's see what were the news. Let me see what was new. I watched Saturday Night, which was fucking great, but that has nothing to do with horror.
Yeah,
the Saturday Night Live movie was excellent.
Yeah. I gotta watch it. It's on HBO. I saw
As
that.
a filmmaker, you need to see it.
I heard. I heard it's really good.
I've seen a lot of people say that, it's like an exercise in anxiety. This is ridiculous, and I'm like, yeah, that's what making movies is like. The whole movie is 90 minutes before the first
episode
show.
Yeah.
So it's basically like real time. of the chaos that happens in the 90 minutes to, so like it ends with them and live from New York. It's Saturday night and credits. It literally ends right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it this week. It looked really good.
Yeah, I saw the Damned, which was good.
Okay.
Although the Damned was really
Not
good.
too familiar with that one.
I think that is a Robert Eggers film without Robert Eggers.
Okay.
Gotta check it out. Very much his style without the Robert Eggers history lesson.
Gotcha.
But it's totally it's very much his style visually and tonally. But yeah, I saw that in the theater. That was it's a fishing, it's a guy, the guy dies, and it's set in the late 1800s or so. A guy dies, and he's a fisherman. He owns a little fishing dock and a boat, and his wife, of course, takes over for it, and as a result, she also takes over his crew.
Okay.
So the crew comes back, and now they're basically stuck in the fishing dock, whatever it is. I can't think of the word. I can't think of the name of it, but basically they're stuck there because it's winter. So we can't put the ship out. We can't go anywhere. We're just going to be stuck here for the next month or so while we wait for the snow to dissipate, essentially. And while they're there, they see a ship off the shore that hits some ice and sinks. And it's basically, they have this moment where like, do we help these people or not? And they decide not to, because it's too dangerous. We could go out there. We could get pulled under as well. Those rocks are dangerous, blah, 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 and basically now they are now haunted by the ghosts of the people who died.
That's a pretty sick concept. Yeah. So gotta check. Where's that streaming? Is that streaming anywhere?
No, I saw that in theaters. I saw that in the theater. So I don't know if it's
that'll be up somewhere soon. I'm sure. I'm sure that'll be up. Did Shudder, was the Shudder banner in front of it?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay.
I don't remember. But it was really good. I said I feel like anybody who likes that Robert Eggers style, this has it. It really felt like that. And I watched it like a week after Nosferatu, and I was like, I like this so much better, like, because I didn't feel like it was. That's it. I just didn't feel like it was trying to give me a history lesson. It was a very folk horror.
Okay.
Folk horror set in on a frozen beach, essentially.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. I think you'll like that a lot.
So let's dive into the main topic here of this episode.
Yeah.
Horror hot takes. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what inspired this. So, over on the Haunted Hangover Patreon page, new thing for this year, actually started with Grimy, who's one of the Haunted Hangover co-hosts here at the show. I'm going to be doing this thing called, it's not even I'm going to be, I am doing it. I've actually recorded 3 episodes, but the listeners haven't gotten the other 2 yet because I'm editing them. But it's called Haunted Hangovers Terrifying 20. And what I'm doing is, anytime I have a guest on the show, I'm going to hit them with these 20 questions. And it could be anything from, favorite Halloween costume or go-to Halloween costume to, a horror hot take, which is what inspired this. I was like, you know what? That's a good thing for us to discuss because I'm so curious what yours are. Obviously, you heard Manny talk about David Lynch earlier, so his horror hot takes are definitely going to be hot. Capital H-O-T. So I was like, you know what? It'd be fun for us to kind of talk about some hot. I've never done anything like this because at the end of the day, everything's subjective. Like, who gives a shit what people's hot takes are? But we are a podcast. We are a show. And I just thought it'd be a fun conversation to have, on the podcast. But yeah, that was the main inspiration. So I just was like, let's see what we got. Now, we don't know what each other picked.
No.
So that's kind of the fun in this. I have no idea. We're going to do 3 each. I have no idea what Manny's hot takes are, horror hot takes. He doesn't know what mine are either. Who should go first? I'm going to let you go first, Manny. I want you to go. First horror hot take. Also, before you go, don't want to offend anybody. This is all for fun, guys. We're just having a good time, talking shit. That's what Manny and I like to do. It's the whole point of this program. It's talking garbage. Talking shit. And honestly, as you can see, Manny and I very rarely agree on things. So That's also but now we do agree on a lot of stuff. But there's stuff we have our own taste in what we like. So yeah, Manny, take it away.
I don't like Hammer horror.
Ooh.
Fuck him.
God, not even
Not that much. No. There's okay.
Fuck him. Not even.
Okay, so
not even giving it a chance.
no, that's not true at all.
Okay.
That is not true at all. No. So the Horror 365 challenge. This is now my third year that I'm going to do this. Hammer horror has been a blind spot for me for years, for my whole life. When The Quiet Ones came out,
Yeah.
that was the first Hammer horror film I'd ever seen.
Which was like a new one. Which was
Yes,
when they brought Hammer back. So,
Yes, exactly. And I'd never seen any of the Chris Lee or Peter Cushing's. I've never seen any of them. They always seemed boring to me. It seemed very, very dated and, old style and everything. And over the last 2 years, I've watched a few. I'm going to say maybe 10 or so I've seen. And because there are a few more that I want to see. I also put them very much in line with what's the werewolf guy? What's his name? The Spanish director that does the werewolf.
Paul Naschy.
Paul Naschy. Very, very similar in style. And I don't like his shit either. I had never seen a Paul Naschy film before like a year or so ago. All right. I'm watching them now and there's one or two that I like, but for the most part, I think they are very boring. I think that they're very dated and maybe part of it is just because I'm looking at it in 2024 and 2025 versus watching it then. But these are some of the most misogynistic, shitty fucking things I've ever seen.
It's a product of the time. So
it is. It is. But at the same time, I also feel, I think we talked about this briefly when we talked about what is shit.
Well, funny enough, you mentioned that, again, going back to what I said before, Grammy and I are we've run through like about 6 of the Universal Monster movies. And even in those films, and those were, right now we're in the 30s, and women were looked at less than. Yeah. So, I mean, it's, again, product of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of these Hammer films were, the 60s into the 70s. So... I'm a fan of Hammer movies. I love Ingrid Pitt movies. I love Vampire Lovers and I forget the name of the Elizabeth Bathory one. I love Twins of Evil. I love
that's the one I was like. Twins of Evil is probably my favorite so far.
I love Twins of Evil. I would love for us to. I want to cover that on a Haunted Hall episode with us. So
yeah, maybe, because my issue with like that is a great film until the ending, and this is where I say,
I remember you saying this.
It's beyond massage. It's like it's just such a shitty. Like you have a movie about the Twins of Evil, and they have nothing to do with the ending of the film. So what is the point? I just watched one today. I watched Vampire Lovers. Same thing. The whole
I like Vampire Lovers,
and it's another. I liked it. Yeah. I liked it too. It was pretty good, but it's another film where basically we tell the story through the women's eyes, and then in the end we shift the focus. Suddenly now we have to hate them, like they've been our protagonists through the whole film. We're seeing this through the vampire women's eyes, is that's how the story is told. And then in the last half hour or so they flip it, and now it becomes all about destroying them, And it's kind of like, well, then what are you telling the story like that from the beginning? Why are you framing them as the main character and then just turning them into the villain for Peter Cushing to show up and be a hero?
Dude, those movies, that was the formula. I get why you don't like them, but
that's what I don't like.
Dude,
I feel like it's bad writing. That's just shitty writing.
Universal Monsters, it's a different time though. Like we're covering films from the 30s, 60s.
But Vampire Lovers is a story from the 1800s.
No, of course.
That's a vampire story that's older than Dracula.
All those stories, it's all misogynistic. Everything, even the source material is pretty misogynistic. That's a conversation for another day. But even like I said, the Universal Monster films, the Peter Cushing, the Christopher, like the Satanic Rites of Dracula. It's all like, you haven't seen that one yet? So like, it's all the same thing. It's like the sexy vampire looking for his girl. If you're not into that stuff,
that doesn't bother me.
But I'm saying, but a lot of the times it's like a damsel in distress, and like they don't do anything. They're a MacGuffin. It's every old horror film from the 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s. It's not till the 70s is when we started seeing stronger, female characters. So it's just a product of the time. Unfortunately, now you're looking at it through the lens of 2025. And I said that
it's because I'm looking at it through now. And
I get that.
I totally get that. So that's my I don't think Hammer horror has aged well. I don't think anybody should really give a shit about it anymore.
Ben Grimm, Satanic Rites, where Dracula gets beaten by a thorn bush. Yes, exactly. I mean, I get it. They're not for everyone. I get it. I respect it. I again, like David Lynch, it's not for everyone. It's, if you hate misogyny and you hate kind of like the women being like, oh, like smack the lady. Oh, like, stay in your lane, woman. Like that's not cool.
It's like the original thing from another planet. From another world. But it's like that one. Honestly, the woman is the smartest character in the entire movie. And through the whole movie, she's constantly in this position where she's right and they're wrong.
Dude, Forbidden Planet's like that.
But all she does is get them coffee.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that's where the world was.
I think that's why specifically, I think that's why directly John Carpenter took the women out of it, because I don't think he could write a film with a woman being that fucking useless and still be right throughout the whole thing. He's like, no, I just got to have a bunch of men who are just going to be dumb and make stupid decisions, because if there's a woman around, no, this is not going to work. She's going to tell them that they're idiots, like Alien.
Yeah, and Forbidden Planet is like that. Like Leslie Nielsen and all the guys are in love with the one woman. Like she's bathing in the water and whatever. It's just a trope. That's how they wrote screenplays back then.
It's not that so much. Like, oh, okay, fine. The sexy woman. I get that. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the objectification. That doesn't bother me, because I feel like it's a thing. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You can objectify men too. I don't feel that you need to remove the objectification of women to fix it. I think let's just objectify more men.
But they didn't see it that way in the 60s, dude.
No, I mean now. Like now, if you want to fix that that there's too much female objectification, then just objectify men in other movies and just balance it out. Because I think there's an audience for it, no matter what.
Not in those days. That wasn't going to happen, unfortunately.
I don't.
Dude, women didn't even wear pants at a certain point in like the 30s.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you want to fix it now, you don't take it out of films. Just do the opposite in other films. Yeah. I don't think we should have less that like insult comedy movies. I don't think we need to get rid of them. We just need to do other types of comedies. Like in the 90s, everything was insult humor.
No, of course.
All
it's
comedy film. Yeah. And that's, and people like, oh, well, that movie doesn't go. There's still an audience for that. It can still exist. If you don't like it, then make a different type of comedy.
Yeah. Create
what you feel is missing. Don't remove what you think there's too much of.
Just to move on from Hammer, but I can see where you're coming from. Again, product of the time. Movies aren't made like they were back in the day. Today, no one's making a movie like that.
I would 100% today make a Brides of Dracula film done in that Hammer horror and like Jean Rollin style. I would totally want to do that. I've always wanted to for years. Like I love that like lesbian vampire type film. Totally objectifying, totally like exploitative type movie.
Yeah.
I just feel like the story is told badly. That's what my problem is. It's
write that script, buddy.
Yeah.
Write that script.
Not the objectification of Hammer. It's the bad writing. Like, this is terrible. Like, you told one story and then you literally changed it and told a different story because, men are heroes.
Those movies were making money back in the day, so I don't think they saw it that way. So
they did 100 and something of them,
It's a good hot take, man. I get it. I respect it. All right, my first hot take. And this is one I'm guilty of. So I'm talking shit about myself and most horror fans here. Now, the VHS aesthetic in horror needs to die. It needs to die. Now, about 2010.
I think they need to get better at it.
No. I
But
think
okay,
they need to kill it.
Go ahead.
Take it out to the pasture. Put it out of its misery. Dude, I remember 2010 when it was coming back. 2010, 2011, 2012.
We were making our own.
Again, and we started that, but our movie never blew up. We just didn't make a good enough movie.
We did it in 2007 before it was getting popular.
But we didn't know anyone. We didn't know what we were doing.
No.
Now, move forward. And there was a certain point where it was very popular, the VHS films, and people were using filters to mimic, promos from back in the day and things like that. I just think the whole VHS and even /80s gimmick, it's done. I mean, I do it here at Haunted Hangover. Yeah. Like I said, I am guilty of this as well. And I'm trying to wean myself off of it and some of the other stuff I do, my film stuff and things like that, because it's just been done to death. When a TikTok filter or a Instagram filter has a VHS filter, and it's just too much.
It's commercialized.
It's not even about the commercial. It's just everyone is doing it. And like you said, not everyone can do it right. It's a very...
I think most do it wrong.
Dude, people don't use the right aspect ratio, and they don't... It's like, it looks like...
throw a filter on
that, an overlay, and that's it.
You watch a movie, and then I'm watching the filter loop for 90 minutes. And that's...
And so to me, it's like, I think people need to stop using it as a crutch in podcasting, in videos on YouTube, in film. The horror community is very guilty of this. Not everyone. Everyone's got like that VHS glitch in the beginning. Again, I do it. But I just think everyone, all of us as a collective, need to slowly wean ourselves off of it. And maybe, and I look like shit right now in the video because my lighting isn't great, but like maybe use some more creative lighting. Maybe, do something different. And 80s too. Maxine last year. Okay, fine. Let's stop that too. Let's stop with the 80s. Make your film in a world where there's no cell phones if you don't want to use cell phones. Create your own universe. I don't think the period 80s stuff, it's just been done to death. And I think we got to move on. That's my first hot take.
I don't entirely disagree with you. Yeah. I don't even partially disagree with you. I mostly agree with you.
Yeah.
I like it. I think that it's a product of the fact that the people like us are the creators now. We grew up watching that, and we watched in the 90s and 2000s when the whole CG thing took over, and it was just really bad. And we watched horror films become a joke of themselves. We watched horror films become this studio thing that was going to cast the hottest and the prettiest and the most popular actors of all time, or of the time, and stick them all in one horror film after another, just to and we all said, what the hell happened to horror? How did Wes Craven, who basically created the horror of, he was responsible for a lot of the horror aesthetic of the 80s itself. Nightmare on Elm Street was the trailblazer. Yeah. Everyone wanted to be Nightmare on Elm Street. Halloween, I understand Halloween was what kickstarted it, but Nightmare on Elm Street took the lead. Freddy was the biggest horror star in the 80s, and everyone wanted to be that. But there was still a level of authenticity to it, where it's like, you can't just do Freddy again. You have to do something different. Mm-hmm. And you had your big three with Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers, and a lot of, imitations, but they all had their own little bit of authenticity to it. And I feel like when we hit our teens and our 20s and Wes Craven brought back the slasher, then it ended up being the same thing he did with Scream, what he did with Nightmare on Elm Street. And everyone wanted to be Scream, and they became carbon copies of Scream.
Well, that was
every
like
movie had two killers.
Yeah.
Every movie had a twist killer.
the
and
late
every
90s
movie
like
was-
slasher resurgence.
yes, the late 90s, early 2000s,
Yeah.
all of them had to be self-referential horror films. And it was like, there's no authenticity here. You're just trying to copy something that already exists. And even Scream, I feel, by part 3 became a carbon copy of itself. They just kept doing the same thing. Every movie had two killers in the end for some really random, weird, off the fucking cuff, out of left field, reason as to why they were killing. Even Wes Craven carbon copied himself, and the later Scream films are just not authentic anymore. They're just trying to recreate that first film over and over again, to the point where a film inside of the film is telling this.
Yeah.
There's a movie in a movie trying to be Scream.
I mean,
so that's
everything
why-
everything is influenced by its predecessor. Everything before it that's come out. I get that.
But that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I think that's why the 80s thing is now, because the people who grew up with that being their childhood are now old enough to be the creators
Yeah.
in the film and the writers, and we're just trying to get it back to what it was before. The problem is, a lot of them don't realize it wasn't about it being the 80s. It was just about some level of authenticity to what you're writing and the movie you're making. You're not trying to make a bad movie back then. You didn't have a choice. They didn't have the money to make a good film.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not. There's directors that have done it really well, like House of the Devil and Hobo with a Shotgun. That's more grindhouse though, like film grain. But like, there's been people that have done really good jobs in kind of that 80s, retro VHS vibe. Even the VHS movies, they're still doing it, and I like some of those. But I just feel like, I don't know. It's just everyone's like, everything is a VHS filter now, and I'm just like, I'm over it. Music videos that are like, and like I said, dude, I have, and you know this, at least I could give you like 5 to 10 videos I've directed, music videos I've produced, things like that, content for Haunted Hangover that I use the VHS filter and the aspect ratio for it, and I glitches. Again, I do it, but I just think look, Laura said it needs to die on the best Dr. Loomis impression. I will not embarrass. I am a terrible impressionist. So can you do a Dr. Loomis impression of It Needs to Die? Man,
I don't think I've ever tried.
It needs to die. I don't know. It'd be terrible. I'm a horrible impressionist. Not good.
I do impressions. I've never tried it. Never tried a doctor.
No, never tried
to die.
It needs to die. But yeah, just the VHS kind of 80s aesthetic. Let's let it go. Buster Rhymes, do you agree with us?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Motherfucker.
Can't forget the most important part of that sentence. Hopefully you guys could hear Buster Rhymes clearly there. But Manny, next hot take.
Okay, well, this one's a little bit more positive, but it's a hot take.
Okay.
It's a positive one. This is a good one. But it's a hot take nonetheless.
Yes.
The what year was it? 2023 was it? Whatever. The Netflix Texas Chainsaw is the best one since the original. Wipes the fucking floor with every single one of them.
All right.
It is, you can combine all of them together. It is not as good as this fucking movie.
This is why we're friends. As much as we drive each other crazy for fucking 20 something years, whatever, how long we've known each other. Want to know what my next hot take is? I think all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films are fun.
I hate them all.
There you go. But you like the last one.
I like the last, and 3D was fun.
So here. Now that these are kind of coming together, because it's technically it's all like the same. It's like you like the last Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I do too. I think all of them. I can watch any Texas Chainsaw Massacre film in that franchise, and I'm entertained by it. Are they good movies? Hell no. There's some poor entries, but I'm still, for some reason, entertained by it. Let's run down, and we're going to end it with the 20, was it 2022, right? 2022 Texas Chainsaw?
2022, 23, something, yeah.
So, Texas Chainsaw 1, no denying its impact. It's one of the best horror films of all time. Yes, he's right there. I have that same image on a jean jacket as a back patch. Texas Chainsaw 2. It goes a different route. Chop top, whatever. Campy.
Another one of those off
Dennis
the
Hopper.
fucking cuff Dennis
Yes.
Hopper when he it was okay until the chainsaw
Yes.
fucking stirrups, and it's like, nope, you lost me. You fucking lost me.
I love all the ridiculous stuff. I love all the radio with I forget Caroline Williams' character's name. It's completely escaped my. She has like a more masculine name.
I can't remember.
I like all that. The Oingo Boingo song in the beginning, No One Lives Forever. It's like the MTV Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. I am entertained by it. My wife hates that movie. When I put it on
until a point.
yeah, I get that. I put it on. She goes, "This is the stupidest movie. How is this movie part 2?"
Fucking stupid.
I
It's
am
so
entertained
stupid.
by it. Part 3. Ken
I will
Foree.
accept Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers as a better sequel than any of those fucking things.
I love that movie too. Texas Chainsaw 3. I Leatherface Texas Chainsaw 3. I love Ken Foree in that movie. Viggo Mortensen is Stretch. Thank you.
Stretch.
Ben corrected a Stretch. It was like it's not a masculine name. It's just a weird.
It's just
a name. Stretch.
Because she's tall.
Yes. Texas Chainsaw 3, Viggo Mortensen, Ken Foree, the metal Leatherface song by I forget, is it Lazarus, I think is the band that plays the song. Great. Part 4, Matthew McConaughey being a psychopath.
Part 4 is where it was stupid, but it was fun. It's fun. It gets so stupid.
I think they're all fun.
The whole government thing is just
That came out of nowhere. Yes.
That's no.
That was never paid. They never paid off that twist ending either. They couldn't. I like his crazy performance. Renee Zellweger is the lead final girl.
Lead victim, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Again, I enjoyed his nutty performance. The kind of like full-blown trans Leatherface in that. I loved every performance in that movie, even though it's bonkers and makes no sense. I like the first remake. Is it better than the original Texas Chainsaw? Hell no. It doesn't even compare, but I enjoyed it for what it is. Ari Ermi as the sheriff, and that wonderful shot when the girl shoots herself and the camera goes through the bullet hole. I dig it. I dug the prequel to the remake.
I hated the prequel.
Dude,
and Leatherface.
Everyone dies in that movie. I love the ending because she thinks she's escaped. Jordana Brewster, I think it was. She thinks she's gonna escape, and Leatherface literally
I like her.
pushes his chainsaw through the front seat of the car and it comes out of her. Sick. Is it a great movie? No.
Yeah.
I think it's entertaining. It's Texas Chainsaw 3D. Alexander Daddario. I'm moving on.
Theater.
That's it.
She's
great.
I saw that one in the theater, and honestly, the best part of it is it's not on the home. Did you see it in theaters at all?
I did. I saw the 3D version. Yes.
Yes, and the 3D version was so cool because they took the ending of the first movie, and they put the ending of the original, and they made that in 3D, and it was so cool to see it that way. But the whole problem with the only real problem with that is that she's not old enough to have been.
No, continuity is all screwy in that.
But I have seen some people point out that now, today, she is the age that she should have been in that movie.
Okay.
And she hasn't fucking changed.
Yeah. She's a vampire.
She doesn't look any older
looks
now
exactly
than
the
she
same.
did. Exactly. So
she
it's like,
is a vampire.
Yeah, she's close to 40 now.
She's my age.
Which is how old she's how old she should have been in the first movie in Texas 3D. And she looks, so it's like, all right, fine.
I mean, who doesn't love Alexander Daddario? She's great. So I mean, that one gets a pass. I didn't hate the kind of gritty, weird prequel that
Leatherface?
I didn't think
it was just dumb.
I mean, I think that was the Inside Guys. What wasn't it? Or no, maybe I'm wrong with that. Maybe it wasn't the Inside Guys. Regardless, I dug, it was weird. You didn't know which one was Leatherface and the guy you didn't expect. I mean, still not a great movie, but I was entertained. No. And then it takes me to the last one with the Gen Z influencer kids that go to this town and Leatherface kills all of them. You've got that great scene. Chris and I reviewed it on the show when it came out. I dug it. I love the ending where they think they're going to escape and the
Oh,
older
it was
sister is
such a good
pulled.
ending.
She's pulled. It reminds me of the Jordana Brewster remake prequel
I think
entry.
that this was telegraphed better. This was done better.
With the a solo whatever automatic whatever self-driving car.
Yep.
I dug it. I think, and this goes back to me as a person. I say the same thing about all the Friday the 13th films, all the Halloween films. I don't say it about all the Child's Play movies. I hate Seed of Chucky.
No, I don't see. That's another hot take there.
Yeah.
I think that Chucky fell off when
Tiffany.
when she showed up.
Okay.
I think that ruined the franchise.
It changed the whole franchise. Again, I wouldn't say that about Child's Play, but Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Friday the 13th. I think these films are all fun. I mean, you could pop them on in the background. You don't have to pay much attention to them. You can edit. You can work on a screenplay. You can do some Photoshop. They're just movies that are entertaining. Oh, someone got their head chopped off. Oh, someone got their arm chopped up. Oh, there goes Leatherface chasing somebody. Like, in my mind, they're just entertaining. And I agree. The last one was a lot of fun. I dug it. I thought it was I think
loved it.
That's my second hot take. I think all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films are fun. They're not. Are they great movies? No. But I see a lot of people say, oh, they suck. This one sucks. That one's better. I think they're all silly, except for the first. That's a classic. There's no touching that one. But they're all silly, but they're all fun. That was my second. I love how our hot takes merged into one big one there. Ben says the guy who wrote Hellfest wrote Leatherface. I
haven't seen Hellfest.
I love Hellfest. I actually want to cover that on the show because that's a Halloween set film, and that's
I think I have the DVD.
So good.
At
So
Dollar
good.
Tree, but I never watched it.
it's a lot of Hellfest is a lot of fun. I saw it in the theater when it came out. I thought it was a really good time. As a haunt guy, I just fell in love with that movie when I saw it. And yes, I will always say that to the grave. Every Texas Chainsaw Massacre film so far has there's some value in it, in my opinion. I love how that was here. I love how both of our middle picks are about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Dude, 2022, man, it's just a violent, gory.
It is.
It was just, it's fun.
That scene of her under the floorboards is
great.
Is
Shit
more
falls
intense
on
than
her.
Yeah, I'm like, that scene
gross.
is so intense, and I feel like that is more intense than all of them. Like, none of them hit that level of intensity. And I know a lot of people complained about that, I'll cancel you. And yes, it's kind of dumb, but that is directly correlates to the original film. In the original film, they're a bunch of hippies.
Yeah.
It's 1974. People hated hippies. Just like we hate the millennial Gen Z thing of that whole, like, everything's on, I'm going to make you famous and make you insta famous and all that. The hippies sitting there talking about astrology in there. And, she says, meat is murder. People shouldn't kill cows. Yeah. People felt the same way then about those characters that you felt about the ones on the bus taping the whole thing. Taping. See the word taping. No, recording the whole thing. That whole Instagram and that whole Instagram thing, the influencers and everything. Those are the hippies today. Obviously, the politics are different.
Yeah.
Because the hippies were, the commune thing, but nonetheless, that pop culture of today is the same as it was. It's a direct correlation. Having a bunch of young kids that are quite ignorant about the world outside their little bubble, suddenly being introduced to this world. That's what the original film was, and that's what this film was. And I don't think any of them have been that, where this core group of people who are truly in a little ignorant teenage early 20s bubble, discovering a psychotic murderer in the middle of nowhere, and that's why I liked it. It had the spirit of the original film, and John Larroquette is back.
Yeah, listen, I when it came out, I dug it. I actually have to rewatch it. It's been a while, but that is funny. Our two picks are both Texas Chainsaw.
My only nitpick with it is that Sally Hardesty was not needed in that.
No, they tried to kind of copy what Halloween did with their requel.
She was
remake.
unnecessary. It
Yeah.
was cool, but then it went nowhere. And it was like, well, that was stupid.
All right, so I guess I'll just jump
I
to
love
my
that actress.
Yeah, she's great. She was in what did I see her in recently? I watched something and she was in it.
Yeah.
Was it Azrael?
folklore.
No.
Yes.
Was it Azrael? No, maybe. It was something else. I don't know.
I think it's Azrael.
I don't know.
Yeah. She's in another one that's coming out that I saw last year
Yeah.
at Overlook. I'll look it up and I'll let you know.
I mean, I just love how both of our picks just by accident. We had no idea we both mentioned Texas Chainsaw Massacre there in the middle. You loving the final one and hating all the other sequels, and me thinking all the sequels are fun. So I'll just go into my third pick then. I'll just go to my final hot take, since we kind of crushed 2 in 1 there.
Oh. Owen Fury. That's how her name. She's in The Northman.
The Northman. That's what I watched recently. Okay.
She's in Mandy. She's
yes.
in that. She's in The Watchers.
She's great.
She is. She's great.
She looks
All
like
You
a
Need
Viking.
Is Death is the new film.
She looks like she belongs in like some like Viking stuff. Like,
she's Irish. She's born in Ireland.
Yeah, the white hair and all that's pretty sick. Sick look.
Yeah, she was in what did she just? She was just in something. Fuck, what was it? She was just in.
I don't know that movie. Fuck, what was it? I haven't seen it yet.
No, it's not out yet.
It's not out yet. 2026, huh? While you look that up, I'm going to.
All You Need Is Death.
All You Need
That's
Is
the
Death.
one.
Okay.
I saw that at Overlook last year, and they said she was so busy they had to like.
She was running around.
They had to tight knit. They were so lucky they got her. She was available for like 3 days, and they were like, all right, they flew her in, they shot all her stuff back.
Pretty
to back.
sick.
And
busy.
That one's
busy
about
gal.
haunted folk song.
I mean,
the song is haunted.
She works in a lot of folky stuff.
Yes.
She's just tailor made for that actress. All right, let me go into my third one here, and then we'll wrap it up with your final hot take. Now, this one, I would not call myself a fashion guru. I'm not the guy. Not a fashion guy. I'm a hoodies, t-shirt, jean, and hat guy. As you guys can see, you've been seeing for 5 years now if you followed Haunted Hangover at all. I'm not an accessory guy. I'm not one of those dudes I'm not a flashy dude. But my third, and again, I'm not offending anyone. And I'm curious what Manny thinks of this, because I know Manny has a lot of these, as do I. I don't know if it's just me, but horror t-shirt designs have been pretty crappy the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Paul Bearer Press, buddy.
Now, let me continue. I don't know what's going on. And I'll be honest, I don't follow, like, on Instagram, I don't follow a lot of horror movie t-shirt companies anymore. I really don't, because I think a lot of their designs are, and I'm not going to say any. You said a name. I'm not going to.
No, I was in positive. That was positive.
I'm just not going to say names.
That was a positive.
I only really follow friends of the show. So, like, shout out to Razors in the Night. Razors, like, he's a friend of the show. He does great work. I love his stuff. I think but he's it's one guy. He does everything. Yeah. And I think right now, before I get into my critique, my hot take, I think a lot of the smaller brands are killing it now. The companies that are 1 or 2 people, I think they're destroying the horror t-shirt game currently in the landscape of horror t-shirt companies. A lot of the bigger ones, no names, there's a lot of them. There's fucking so many. Their t-shirts just look like they're lifting Blu-ray covers. They're too noisy. There's too much going on. Again, this is a matter of taste. Maybe it's not my style, but maybe it's yours. Listeners, Manny, whoever. There's too much neon, bright reds, pinks, someone's decapitated head in the corner, the main killer guy in the beginning, a zombie. Too much going on. It looks like a Scream Factory Blu-ray has been lifted and put on a t-shirt, and it's the entire thing. And I'm just not feeling it. And there's a lot of companies doing that. And they're putting it on baseball tees and on t-shirts and on jerseys. And I'm just like, it's borderline kind of corny. It just doesn't look cool. It's almost like it's becoming dated in a way. It's almost like a more minimalist design, maybe 2 or 3 colors. something a little more, I don't know, man, I don't want to use this word, a little more conservative looks kind of cool. And maybe that's just me now, in my age, maybe. But I look at some of these companies, I'm like, oh, that's an ugly shirt. Like, there's just too much going on here. The colors are not muted. It's so bright. It's just not my cup of tea. So that's my third horror hot take. I just think just too much, especially the neon stuff and all. Like, listen, I'm wearing a Reptar t-shirt underneath here, so I'm not you can't.
I got the burbs. This doesn't get much more simple than this.
Oh, that's great.
Simple.
That's great. I don't know if it's just maybe it's just me. Dude, some of them I'm just
I agree.
One more thing. Let me finish my thought here.
Go ahead.
And I get this is a business and you got to make some money. I think we've had enough Halloween shirts. I think we've had enough Friday the 13th shirts. I think we've had enough Nightmare on Elm Street shirts. And I get it. They're making you guys money. But dude, you barely even see a Hellraiser shirt these days. I'm like, what?
Well,
and that Hellraiser is super popular. Again.
Well, the reason for that, a lot of that is because the fucking Weinsteins own most of
Which
Hellraiser.
I get it. Like, it's easier for them to get the licensing for it's hard. It's hard.
Harvey Weinstein won't fucking sell anything.
And a lot of the indie guys are doing bootlegs. They're not getting the license. They're just, And and again, in my opinion, producing some of the best shit. And I just think some of these bigger companies, you can tell they're just hiring like 3 artists and pumping out design after design. They obviously have a factory. They obviously can press these shirts quickly and make, 500 of them and then sell them to mass audience. And it's cool. I respect that, and a lot of these companies came from just being 1 or 2 people, but now they're huge. But guys, maybe look at some of these smaller, maybe I'm missing it because I don't follow a lot of them, but look at some of these smaller independent guys and kind of follow them. Even some of the fits of the shirts suck. I forgot who. I'm not even going to say the name. I bought a shirt. It was an extra large. It still felt so snug.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Those slim cut shirts, get rid of them. Get something a little boxier, it fits you a little better. I don't know. Just my opinion. I respect all of them. They're hustling. They're doing their thing. And if you like the shirt that has it looks like Freddy Krueger vomited on it, that's cool. It's no big deal. I'm not wearing it, but you can have at it. It just looks like a Blu-ray cover. Just copy and paste it on a t-shirt. I don't know. Just me, maybe. What were you going to say, Manny?
I agree. For the most part, I agree, because I think that there's a couple of the, like you say, the bigger ones that it just feel like all the shirts are starting to look the same. You say it looks like Blu-ray covers. It's got a whole bunch of shit happening and it's just big, bright colors, huge, and it's just like it looks so dull. There's a couple of them that I haven't bought from in a while, just because it's like
let's not say any names, man.
No,
let's not let it slip.
No. That I haven't bought from, or 1 or 2 here or there, but there's a couple that I would buy from religiously a long time ago, like maybe 6-7 years ago, that I don't even check their sites anymore, because it's just because I don't have to, because number one, it's going to be thrown in front of me just through Instagram and Facebook. I'm gonna be bombarded with their ads.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for me to even look them up.
You don't even need to follow them anymore at this point.
No.
The algorithm knows you're a horror guy.
Yes, and it's going to show me them, but like you said, like there's the smaller ones. I'm going to throw it down because they're my favorite. Is Paul Bearer Press is my favorite. I have a nice little collection of Lucio Fulci movie shirts. I got Enigma, and I got a couple of House by the Cemeteries, and the Beyond.
I think they're the only ones doing Fulci. Some of the other big ones I don't think are.
There's a couple. There are a couple others, but
okay.
But they're making great ones. I got John Rollins shirts from them, I mean, and some of them are the French poster.
Yeah.
And a lot of their designs, I actually found, I can't think of his name, but the artist that did the one of the House by the Cemetery, I found him on Blue Sky, and I'm watching a lot of his other art. That's like, holy crap, man! I want to hire him to do my poster someday, because you know what I like about Paul Bearer Press? They have that style. It almost feels like an old heavy metal album cover. You know,
Yeah, they put a lot
it's
of distressing on there. They distress their images a lot, from what I remember, right?
specifically, well, this artist does a lot of theirs,
yeah.
and he does it all on. It's almost like a needlepoint ink.
Ah, okay.
He showed the type of pen that he
There's a
had.
craftsmanship in it.
Yeah, there's a specific pen that he uses that gets this type of detail that he gets, and it's like, I bet that's what you get out of like an old Danzig album cover or something. You know, like this is what it gives you, that feeling of
Yeah.
like, this is a horror movie.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? You know,
I mean, it's, again, I get it's taste. It's what you
No.
like. I mean, and I don't want to like yuck anyone's yum. I think I said that not that long ago in
people
another
could
episode.
like them all they want. It's
Like whatever you
different
like.
tastes and
It's my
everything.
opinion. Yeah, I just think it's just too much. Sometimes I look at some of these brands, I'm like, oh, what is that? And again, shout out to Razors in the Night. He was on the show last year. I gotta get him on again. Cover something. One Man Army. He just released a sick Hellraiser shirt. But it's a Suffocation shirt, so it's the band, death metal band. So, and again, I'm a death metal guy, obviously, so I'm gonna lean more towards stuff like that. It's literally Frank's face stretched out in black and white,
I've seen that,
and then it
With
says
I saw
Suffocation.
that.
That's pretty cool,
seen that.
you know. And he has, and when we had him on the show, we talked about it. Dave and I talked about it with him. He has the best, and you can't get it now. I don't think he's printed up anymore, but he has the best Hell House t-shirt. It looks like an old haunted house attraction t-shirt. It's the best. So in my end, and, you know, he's a friend of the show. Maybe that's a cop out. Maybe that's why. But I think he's doing, and there's some others, but he's doing some great work, and he's doing what I think more of these bigger companies should be doing. It's like, come on, guys. You know, fine, you want to make a Nightmare on Elm Street shirt, but maybe less colors. Not everyone wants to wear neon.
Some of those Freddy shirts I'm seeing, they look like cartoons.
Yeah, it's so bad.
So right.
It's so bad. And I'm just like, maybe, you know, ease up on that and maybe eliminate some of those brighter colors.
Everything is just bright and airbrushed.
It's like, yeah, you know, every now and then you want a bright colored shirt, but not, you know, not all
Not
the
every
time.
one of them. Yeah, but
Yeah, you know.
that's just that's the way it's going. It's
Yeah, whatever. It's what it is. I will not be spending my money on those guys. So sorry. All right, Manny, let's wrap up the show. What's your final hot take here? So we can close it out.
My final one kind of correlates to yours, but it doesn't.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with t-shirts.
Okay.
No, it's the spirit of what you're saying. It's the same.
Can't wait to hear this.
Here come
A deep sigh. That's frightening.
I'm waiting for here come the swords. I do not think there should be a best horror category at the Oscars.
Whoa.
Period.
Really?
Now, that does not mean, I do not mean to say that I don't think horror films deserve Oscars. I think they absolutely fucking do. I hope The Substance fucking wipes the floor, clears it. I hope they win every damn one of them. And I feel like Toni Collette was robbed by
100%.
by not even being nominated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am all for that. Natalie Portman should have got for Black Swan. You know what I mean? Florence Pugh should have been nominated for Midsummer. Lupita Nyong'o should have been nominated once or twice by now, you know? So I am totally fine with them being nominated because they're going to be great fucking films. But the horror genre is the punk rock of film. Okay? They are underground. It is anti-establishment. The whole purpose of a horror film is to kind of repulse you in one way or another, is to turn you away and make you uncomfortable in one way or another, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, whether it's just that's going to, you know, that is what a horror film is supposed to do. Okay. And horror becoming mainstream enough that it is now recognized by the Oscars. What is it now? You know, it's like I say, the best correlation is to punk rock. Punk is supposed to be outside of the mainstream. It is anti-establishment in that. So when Henry Rollins was doing Calvin Klein ads, dude, that's it. You're not punk anymore.
Wait, Henry
You've
Rollins did
become-
Calvin Klein ads?
Oh yeah.
Did he? Oh, I had no
Oh
idea.
yeah, dude, it was on the. It was
Really?
over. I didn't know he did it until I was over at a B&H on 34th. Is that?
Okay.
The side of the building was Henry
What
Rollins.
year was this? I did not know that.
This was like maybe 2007.
Oh, so it was a long
2000.
time ago. Okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. You know, and he's moved back that way. But Henry,
I mean, the dude was in
fucking-
shape, so
You know,
yeah.
I'm not holding it against any of them who do that, but there's a point where you are no longer anti-establishment and you are now the mainstream. You know what I mean? When you have the Misfits selling tickets at $300 a pop, you are no longer a punk band. You are a mainstream popular rock metal band. You know, that's not changing the sound. That's not changing. It is the aesthetic, the feeling. What punk rock is a rebellion. And you can't rebel against the system if you are the fucking system. You know, you are a revolution. That's what punk rock is. That's what horror films are. It is a revolution. It is anti everything that the mainstream is. It is out of the spotlight. And it thrives in being that. The best horror films are the ones made by people with no money and no chance to make it, and they do. That is where you get the best ones. Now, every so often you get an Exorcist. You know, you get a Hereditary, you get a big budget film that absolutely kills it because it's going to happen. You're going to get a great, well-made, high-budget horror film that just sweeps. You get It. That became, the first one was great. Second one, not so much, but nonetheless, it was a good horror film, you know? And every so often you get them. But horror in and of itself, I feel like once you make a category at the Oscars, now you're going to get Oscar bait horror films. And that's not a horror film anymore. This is not. It's a scary movie.
I mean,
It's a scary movie. How many people have problems with Blumhouse just pumping out one crappy carbon copy after another? That is what the early 2000s were. It was just carbon copying, trying to replicate the success of something else. There was nothing original. There was nothing behind it. There was no meaning other than we need to make money. And once there is a best horror category at the Oscars, horror is officially, we're going to do it to make money. And every studio who's been shunning it, who never wanted to do it before, is suddenly going to be pumping out one Oscar bait horror film at a time. And they're just going to get dumber and emptier, prettier, higher budgets. But now you're going to have every fucking studio just making horror films, and none of them are going to be any interesting whatsoever. You know, Blumhouse has purposely kept it low budget and small. He keeps it short. All their horror films are under $5 million. They shoot them within a month, with the exception of the Conjuring films. And the Conjuring, I think, is a perfect example of big budget horror being done for the sake of profit.
that's Warner Brothers, though. That's not Blumhouse. Conjuring. Those are not his movies.
Oh, okay.
Insidious
Okay.
are his movies.
Insidious.
Yeah.
But look at that.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah.
Conjuring, they just keep pumping them out, and it's like, and that world just gets bigger and bigger, and it's
Yeah.
like, what is the fucking point anymore? They're all the same movie over and over again with a new character. Oh, great! Here's the next Conjuring film.
My only defense, I guess, in why people want horror to be,
I
guess,
totally understand.
I mean,
why
I
they
think it's more about the filmmaker than it is the genre. I think people just are like, all right, this was a really good movie. It's a beautiful looking movie. It's a well acted film. This is why it deserves merit. This is why it should be acknowledged. I get that. I think that's where most people, that's how people are seeing it, you know?
I don't disagree with.
I don't think it has anything to do with the genre. I really don't. I think it's just a good movie's a good movie, and that's more so, I guess,
but
how people see it.
But that's just it too. That's not what the Academy is looking for.
I mean, I don't give it. Like, I'll be
That's
honest, dude. I've
the-
never been in like an award. I just personally, I don't give a shit about that stuff.
No, I don't. I stopped watching it. But
Even if I was a successful filmmaker, like making big movies, I still would just like whatever. I mean, I care as an indie filmmaker now. I don't give a shit about these. I hate to say this, these small film festivals that give out awards. Like, who? I don't. Whatever. Like, so I'd rather you screen my movie and just get people to watch it.
yeah.
Whether it's a short film, a feature film, whatever.
But that's what I was
my
gonna say.
that's my perspective. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think of the Academy. The Academy, they're basically a film festival jury.
It's just a giant
want-
group. Yeah.
They want certain types of films.
Yeah. Oscar
know?
bait. That's where that term
Yeah.
comes from. Yeah. So.
Exactly. And it's just like comic book movies. Well, how is this not recognized by the Academy? Because that's not the types of films they want to. They want to award. They want to award high concept, dramatic, tear jerking, life affirming. They want art house. You know that.
I mean, art house is really art house horror is what they're looking for. That's why like Hereditary and The Substance and shit
and
like
that's
that
exactly
gets nominated.
That's why they get nominated, because it fits what they're already looking for. What I think the misconception is that the Academy is supposed to be some sort of authority on what makes a great film, but they're not. They're not.
Yeah.
They're nothing different. They're just a group of people.
People love
who like a certain.
Alfred Hitchcock. He never won an Oscar. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So
that's exactly it. That's what I think. People have the wrong opinion of what the Academy is. You know, they're not telling. The only reason that their opinion is held as high regard is because they have the money and the sponsors behind it to be shown on TV.
Yeah.
But what you really should be talking about is something like the Critics' Choice Awards or People's Choice Awards.
People
or
making
SAG
the
Awards.
public making the decision. Yeah.
Yes. You know, or the other filmmakers, the SAG Awards, where the other
aren't the Golden Globes a bit more lenient and it's not a committee that's there's a committee, but like there's more more open to other stuff.
That's the reason why people believe that The Substance was actually given it, because usually the Oscars are after the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
They announce after, so they kind of take that into account as to how people and because she won at the Golden Globes, it's like, how the fuck has Demi Moore not won an Oscar yet?
I know she's 62 years old and has never won an Oscar. It's crazy. G.I. Jane came out in 97. She's great in that movie. I don't know what the hell happened there.
Yeah.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. I don't think a movie like we'll never see a movie like a slasher like Longlegs be nominated for an Oscar. Like something like that is never going to be. But I could see why. And this will date this episode quickly, but I can see why The Substance is nominated. I
can totally see
because of that.
And that's where I look at it. I say, well, if you create a horror category and that's the type of horror film they're looking for, you're basically saying, well, we need to give A24 the best film every year. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just need to give that every year. You know, like now you're going to have studios trying to make The Substance, and you can't.
Yeah.
That's what makes the horror films that have won Oscars win, is just that they are that special and they are that, I hate the term, but elevated.
Yeah.
They are great films, and there are plenty that have been totally overlooked, and it's simply because they're horror films. Hereditary was overlooked simply because it's a horror film.
Yeah, that's a great movie too. So.
And it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's it sucks, but I mean, there's only been a handful of films that have even been nominated and made it that far. I think Silence of the Lambs was a big one,
but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I think that's good. I would like to see more nominated, but I don't want a horror category.
You don't want it to become a trend.
Yeah, yes, exactly it.
Yeah,
exactly it. That's why I say it correlates what you're saying about the T-shirts, where these guys, they're doing something different. They made horror shirts popular, and now that they are popular, what the fuck what is this? What are you giving us now?
Yeah.
And I feel
churning out stuff just because. I mean,
and I feel that's what will happen to studio horror. If you give them an Oscar category, now they're just gonna churn shit out. You know,
We'll see soon enough. We'll see it. We'll see night. But in March, I think so. Yeah. We'll see what happens if the substance takes it home.
I hope they do. I think she deserves it.
Yeah,
totally deserves.
We
it.
both had it in our top 5 of 2024. Yeah. So so I'm hoping so too. I think that's a good place to end it. Hopefully we didn't offend anyone.
Or hopefully we did.
Maybe. I'm sure Manny's tirade on David Lynch offended somebody.
Some people are sitting there.
I mean, if I get a comment like, Louis, your buddy there is a
little intense.
That's why I bring Manny on the show, because I know if there's someone that has a strong opinion, it's that man right there. And listen, that's the fun of the conversation. You know, one of us loves him. One of us appreciates him.
You were biting your lip back there. You're like, whoa, wait a minute here. David Lynch, are you kidding?
Because I'm a big David Lynch guy. Yes. But yes, thank you so much for listening. All the people in the chat. Thank you guys for watching live. And anyone that listens after the fact, be sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Facebook. I don't even know anymore. TikTok, everywhere at Haunted Hangover. Head over to hauntedhangover.com where you can find links to the Patreon page. Get our early access to episodes. The OnlyFans coming soon. But yeah, the Patreon page for now. Get early access to episodes. Get, bonus content. I'm going to be doing that Terrifying 20. Try to do one every month. Some extra stuff. Got some stuff hopefully planned with Manny for this year. It's only January. Many months to go. And as always, remember, the best cure for a hangover is
more booze.
I'm drinking water tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Catch you guys.
I gotta go to work. I'm not drinking. Right
gotta go to work. I gotta eat dinner. I'm hungry. But yes, have a good night. Catch you guys later.